Hello and welcome to Factor Y. This is a factory building game. Your typical harvest resources, build factories, recipes get ever more complex, so good time to be had. This is Planet Hope. This is the planet we start on. The goal is to build a factory and a space pad to launch to other planets, and we can actually trade resources between planets and build factories on planets. So let me zoom in and show you the scale. This is absolutely huge. These are some resource nodes, but as you see, as you zoom in, they actually get more and more. So this is the resource nodes here. So as we zoom out, you can see how absolutely huge it is. Quite large. So we'll see how that goes. That sounds pretty exciting. And then there's actually a whole solar system here. So if we keep zooming out, there's planets all over the place. There's one down here. There's one by the sun here. There's one way out here. And all of these have like little moons on them and stuff too that have resources on them. So looks like there'll be some transportation involved. So that'll be fun. But so let's go back to Planet Hope here. This, if we hover over it, it tells you what resources it has on there. Notably, there's titanium ore missing. I don't know what that'll be used for, but I'm sure we will find out. So let's zoom in. Now we got to find a good place to start. The factory has a limited range from your starter hub. So let me zoom in and we'll show you. So if we click on the starter hub down here, then you can see the area that is accessible. That's the only area we can build in. So I kind of like that mechanic. There's items we can build called influencers that expand our factory range. So I think that's kind of fun. You don't have access to the whole map right away. You only have access to this little area. In order to get bigger factories, you need to build influencers. So pretty cool. We're going to want to find an area that has all materials accessible to us. This is coal here, iron, stone, and copper. The orange stuff is copper. We want to make sure that those are all located within our starting factory. Alright, so I think I found our starting area. There's a whole bunch of resources located close together here. So let's zoom in, put our starter hub down. This is just basically a big influence range so that we can build on it. There, looks as good as any place. And now we have access to build stuff within that range. So if we select, say, a miner, you can see our range is what we're allowed to build inside of. Now what's interesting about this game is that there is no handcrafting whatsoever. You cannot manually harvest resources. You cannot handcraft anything. Everything that needs built has to be done in an assembler via conveyor belts and I'm sure other things as the game goes on. So that's notable because we can't just run up here, harvest some iron and smelt some plates. We have to put a factory down in order to do anything. Now we're given a small starter supply of materials. I'll show you the belts first, I guess. If you zoom in here, you can see we have 75 belts. Once those 75 belts are gone, we do not have any more. So we have to prioritize using what we have to get basically belts, inserter arms, and miners and assembly factories built first, as well as some research before we run out of materials. Because once we run out of materials, well, again, we can't handcraft stuff, so we are basically out of luck. So we're going to focus on coal first. Now, the graphics on this game aren't the greatest, but it's a very affordable game. If you're into factory building, highly recommend picking it up. It's only $5-6, so you can't go wrong. So let's get some coal started right away. Let's put down some miners. And the miners have range, so they have up to 9 tiles. You can see the area of effect around them. If you put one, say right here, that only has access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles of coal, so it won't harvest as fast. Let's put one down here. Let's say if I put one here. Now the numbers I'm still trying to quite figure out right now, but they are down the bottom of the screen. They're 256. That's basically, it has 9 of 9 tiles, so it can harvest in 256. This one here has 5 of 9 tiles, and you can see it's 460. So it takes a lot longer to harvest one resource, whereas this one does it in 256. So you're definitely going to pay attention to that. Alright, so I've got 2 coal miners down. We don't have access to crossings or anything like that yet right now, so we can't do tunnels under belts or anything like that yet. So we're going to have to be very careful how we do it. So that's why I've put them, I'm going to put a furnace in right here and right here. And then an inserter arm. You can see we only have 30 of these to start with, so we got to focus on getting these up and running right away. So that's coal. Next up we'll need some iron down here. So iron we can just grab. Again, making sure we get the 9 blocks. The miner does not affect it, I don't think. No, it does not. Alright, so there's iron sent down to the furnaces. So this is inserting coal, this is inserting iron, this is making iron bars. We gotta take the iron bars out. This is just kind of a temporary starter setup to get us going. I guess let's go down with it. You can see I only have 52 belts left, so we gotta focus on kind of spreading this stuff out, so I'm not sure that's a great idea, but we will see. So that's iron bars being built. Now if you see in the bottom right hand corner of the screen here, we have this green 500, that's how much power we're producing. The red is what we're using, 105. So everything we put down, including inserter arms, I believe even belts use energy. Yes, they use 1 energy. You can see the red letters, the NRG, energy. So that is how much energy they use. The furnaces use no energy because they're using coal to burn. But the miners use energy, they use 10 energy. So you gotta be careful of that. We're gonna run out of power pretty quickly. But first off, we want to get belts and arms being produced. So this can be built in a assembler. Put down an assembler. Again, graphics aren't that great, but if you click on it, you can set a recipe. We're going to do belts to begin with. You can see it takes 1 iron plate and 1 gear, and it takes 256 ticks to make it, which looks like is about 4 seconds. You'll see in the bottom the number. Let's see if I can get it to stay. So the bottom, the purple number on the bottom, 256, is basically how long it takes to craft it. I'm not sure what the yellow is. I guess that's the yellow is what it takes to process the iron plates, maybe. But the red is 1 iron plate, 1 gear. It'll make 1 belt. So we're gonna have to set this to actually make gears. So we're gonna leave this as belts. We're gonna put down another one. If you right click it, it just copies it. So we're gonna put that up here. We're gonna change this recipe to gears. So that one just needs an iron plate to make a gear, so we already have those, so we can put one here. This takes an iron plate and a gear, so there we go. Now we're making belts already, except we gotta connect these up so that the gears will go down to here. And then the way it works is there's just a global inventory basically, so you put down a provider chest, they call it, right here. And this will start accepting it. Now all of a sudden we have belts being produced. I'm completing objectives. I have the tutorial hidden just because it's very basic and not really needed. So that's the noise you're hearing, is the objectives being completed for the tutorial. But then if you click on this, you can actually set a limit, which is pretty cool. So if you only want, say, 100 belts in your inventory at a time, just hit 100 there, and it'll stop producing belts at 100. So once we have 100 belts in inventory, if I hit, so far I haven't found any way to see inventory, so 52, 53, you zoom in, you see this number right here. That's how many we have in inventory, so we're producing them quickly now, so that's good. And you can always change these assemblers to new recipes as needed. They're not set in stone, so if I click on it, I can change it to say I want to produce arms, which happen to be the same recipe, iron gears and bars. So you could set this to produce arms as well. not as well. It would change and make arms instead of making belts, but that way you don't have to set up another factory line if you want to switch back and forth, especially early game. You know, eventually we'll have dedicated builds for all of this, but right now it'll get us going. Alright, we can see this has stopped swinging. It has 100 belts in inventory now, so it's not inserting them any longer. So the only problem with this, so I'm going to switch this over to make arms now, which happens to take 2 iron plates and 2 gears, so basically the same recipe, a little bit more material, double the material to be exact, but that way we don't have to put down another assembler and all these arms, because right now at the beginning of the game we are very limited what we have. The only problem with this is this arm is stuck here because I can't put it in here because we already have 100 of them. So the minute we build a belt, it will fix that. So like if I just build a belt right next to it, now I had room to put it in the chest, and now it's making the arms. And then you can just delete this by holding delete above it, and it puts it back in your inventory. So now we have 101 belts. So we're going to let that make that. Next up, we're going to get focused on first off energy, so that we have energy to expand with. Right now we're only using 180 of 500. That's going to go up quite quickly, so let's make sure we have some energy put together. There is another small coal stash up here. So let's put this to use. Let's go ahead and put 2 miners down. We're getting low on miners. We only have 11 left. And this basically goes, let's see which way we want to build this. We'll just build it up for now. So if we hit, I'm using the shortcut, so F6 and then 1 makes you put a little burner down. Now these are a little bit more complicated, so they hold, if you hover over it here, it says energy plus 100, so each of these provides 100 energy if it's fueled. Right now it says thermal energy is 0. I happen to know when you insert a piece of coal, the thermal energy goes to 100,000. And smelt speed of 100, so if it has 100,000 thermal energy divided by 100, it equals 1,000. So this will basically burn for 1,000 ticks. Alright, that should hold us for a while. We have 8 of them down. Of course, these 2 are not going to operate quite at full speed again. This can produce 1 coal every 256, which means it does 4 every 1,024. These each need 1 every 1,000, so 4 of these would take 4 per 1,000, and this is 1,024, so we're 24 ticks off of being able to keep these running full time. Super annoying, but is what it is. So next up, we're going to want to get research up and running right away, because research takes forever, especially early game when you only have access to 1 lab. So let's check out what that requires. Put this down just so we can see the recipe. Now RT1, this little magnifying glass looking thing here, is a research token 1. It requires 1 gear and 1 iron plate, similar to what everything else we've been building requires. So let's go ahead and make this be gears. Copy this down. Expand our belt down. And put in some inserters. Let's change this recipe to research. Then we got to put down a lab. Put down the labs to put the research into. We only have access to 1 right now. It takes, again, in order to do more labs, we'd have to put an assembler down and figure out what the recipe for labs is, which we will do shortly. Let's get this up and running because it does take a while. So there we go, now that's research being put into the research lab. It only puts 1 in at a time. It processes 1 every 1,000 So I don't know what that is. Looks like 1 every 16 seconds. So if we take a look at research here, which is V, or this magnifying glass, we can see the research tree here. It's pretty sizable. These ones down here at the bottom are infinite researches. But we're going to be interested to start at the top here, which is number 1 here. We want this crossing. This will enable us to cross belts without mixing them up. So super handy stuff. You can see it takes RT10 of 100. So this is going to take 100 times 16 seconds. So that's 1600 seconds. Quite lengthy for your first research of the game. So we're going to start that one off right away. So I did the calculation. It is 27 minutes for this first research, so quite ridiculous. It'll be speeded up greatly once we put more labs down, but we don't have access to that right away. So we're just going to have to work on other stuff while we wait for that to go. Alright, so I took a break, came back, got some food, and the research was done, so happy days there. So we're going to set up a quick build just to get these up and running because they're going to be extremely useful. So let's put that there, let's put that there. They take, let's see, let's set this one first. This one takes crossings, so let's zoom in here. It takes 4 belts and 4 screws to make 1 crossing. So quite expensive, but totally worth it. So let's grab belts from here. The belts are maxed out, so we'll only make these on a temporary basis. Down to, I got 100 of these, so that's plenty. So we'll set those up like that. We'll set that's this. Let's set this to screws. We got some iron right here we can grab. And then we just need to take them off. We'll just throw them in there for now. Alright, so that is crossings being made. Again, this is all temporary. I'm just trying to get the basics up and running so that we can build a proper factory. That will be awesome. Alright, so that's good there. So next up, so I have 4 items on my list that I feel we need to build right away so that we can continue to expand. One would be the power building so that we don't run out of power. That's probably number 1 priority. Without power, we can't do anything. And then the miners, the assemblers, these black things here, and the furnaces. Once we have those 4 being produced, I feel we can expand and get into other stuff. So let's focus on that. The burners are up first. The burners, the power burners here, they require 8 stone bricks to build. So we're going to have to smelt some stone. Alright, let's try out these new crossings. I got the belts run. We need stone into the furnace. And coal into the furnace. That should make stone bricks. Now what I think we can do is put down a crossing. This thing here, right here. And put down another inserter arm there. And then a belt here. And there we go. We have stone bricks being manufactured. Alright, let's copy this over here. Doesn't really matter where right now. Let's put there. Let's set the recipe to make burners right now. Let's start with these. That just requires stone bricks. 8 stone bricks for 1 burner. So all we need to do is put an arm in here. We are still good on power, 500 of 1.3 it looks like. Put that there. Let's put this here. Let's grab a provider. We only have 9 of these left, so we'll have to get these making 2. But let's limit this to Let's see, burners, let's do like 15. That'll be good for now. Then when it hits 15, we'll switch it to something else. Let's set up another one. Just so we're not constantly switching recipes. Let's set this one to make furnaces. Requires 8 stone bricks as well, so even if it's not producing all the time, once this hits 15, this belt will back up, and then we will have, and let's just do this and this. And that will limit those to 15 as well. Alright, next up is miners. Miners require 4 screws. So 4 screws. We are already making screws over here for the crossings. Let's go ahead. The good part of this is you can click on this arm and turn it off. So now it'll stop making these. So if I want to start making crossings again, I can turn this back on. But for now, I'm going to leave it off. I'm going to actually delete all this. And we have screws right here. Screws are for the miners that we're making. So let's go ahead and put this right here, I guess. Set this to miners. Go ahead and take these over to here. Put these over to here, and let's put another provider in. Just because this was limited to 150 and I don't need 150 crossings or miners. So let's set this to a limit of, say, 20. So that's miners being made. Alright, let's move this guy out of the way. This is just my recipe checking one anyway. Let's go ahead and see if we can squeeze another one of these here. That means we could copy this, that would be good there. Now we need to put an extra miner up here though. Love how right click is a copy. It's a very nice feature. So that's good there. So now we have iron being made here. So now we can put in, let's see, what do we need again for, what are we even trying to make? Assemblers. Need 8 gears and 8 stone bricks. So stone bricks are right here. Gears we can make. So let's put this here. This will be making assemblers, which means we'll need one of these to get stone bricks in. We gotta make gears. I guess we'll just make them over here. Gears are already being made here. So that'll copy the recipe as well. And we just gotta run them up to the factory. So that's gears being made. Stone bricks being made, so now we just need to move these into the chest here. There you go, now this is set a limit of 15, so we'll always have 15 assemblers being made. So this is our starter factory. Pretty compact design, I feel, for everything it's producing. I think it's doing a good job. So this next episode we can focus on starting a giant expansion and, you know, processing stuff in bulk now that we have the basic materials being made. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.